let us talk about love. Everybody's favorite topic, love. The notion of love that we get is usually based around the romantic movies that we have seen, where there is longing for another, where there is craving to be with the other. So, our default conditioning is to perceive love as something which completes us. And we impose this condition that I need them to fulfill me. To say that I'm incomplete without them. So I need them. Therefore, I start a relationship. I may start a friendship. I may start a romantic relationship or any other relationship. Because life is all about relationship. But you see, true love is the foundation, is the substratum which gives rise to expressions that we call as friendships, romantic love, and things of those nature. So in true love, there cannot be a discrimination as such. The true love never discriminates. There is no division in true love. Whether you like a person or you dislike a person, the substratum of that is love. The basis of that is love. What you love is love, and what you hate is also love. So, all in all there is the impersonal love, the one that shines as our being, the one shared being. That is the source and substance of everything, is love. Generally, what happens is that in separation, we see the other as separate from us. And there is an assumption that we begin with. The assumption is that I am separate from them, from the rest. I'm an individual, autonomous unit, and I operate in society, and I gain from society. I learn from people, from philosophers, from masters, from spiritual gurus, from scientists, from literature, and so on. And then I become better and better gradually. So I become intellectually empowered. Then I go for financial success. Then I become financially empowered. And then I go and find myself a partner, my love of my life. And then I become whole. But you see, this definition of love is extremely skewed because it is based around feelings. The feeling by itself is never complete. Feeling is usually a reaction, a deep reaction, something deep within us that arises as the sensation. And we give the name, label a particular feeling as despair or anxiety or sadness. They are different expressions, but the underlying thing is the same. And this sort of creates a separation, this sort of creates a need to acquire. And we, based on this experience, take the feeling to be real. Now, feelings are real, but feelings are not the truth, because every feeling is impermanent. At this stage, if you are in love with another person, then there is a fundamental assumption there based, and that is that I am separate, that I am limited, and I need them to fulfill me. I need them to feel whole. So, this need to feel whole, this need is also a feeling, it's also a sensation, which is based on a future projection. You see, we imagine our lovers, our partners, to be this perfect image, which is our own creation. We do not see the totality of what the other is. Because we assume, we start from that point where we believe ourselves to be limited and separate. Therefore, we also assume that the other person is also separate. And then we superimpose our own concept, our own image on what the reality is. So, my lover in reality may be suffering from, let's say, some personality disorder, or they may be suffering from depression or anxiety or some addiction. But you see, the mind projects this person as the perfect image. As this perfect object, my object that I desire. I think in psychology, this term is called limerence. So we see all positive. In fact, we ignore all those signs, where we see limitations of the other. We imagine them to be this perfect person. And if I get them, if I acquire them, if I love them, if they're in my arms, if I get to hug them, kiss them, confess my love to them, then I will feel whole. But you see, all of this is just imagination. It is continuously being projected outwards on an object. And this imagine creates restlessness, anxiety within us. Because that person does not exist in reality, the one that we imagine to be true. So you see, mind puts this facade, it creates this division between me and the other. And the other is my prized, other is my shiny object that I want to acquire, to become whole, to feel whole. And then starts all the conditioning, because the fantasy makes us anxious. We are constantly projecting this future fantasy where we are imagining our life with this perfect person living a perfect life and so on. And this is all with the assumption that right now my life is horrible, my life is bad. You see, this me is all about me and my story. So even when it is projecting that fantasy onto the other object, what eventually is happening is the attention is being drawn back to this image or me, this entity that thinks itself to be separate. You're not just putting your lover, your partner, or whoever you fantasize about, You're not just putting them on a pedestal. That pedestal actually reflects back on you. It's all about me. It's not at all about them. I don't know if this makes sense. It's all about me, me, me. It's all the fantasy of being the knight in shine. How do you say that? What is the phrase? Being the shining and knight armor, whatever. Let me know the correct phrase. And being the rescuer, being the benefactor, and so on. What essentially I'm doing is I'm just bringing the attention back to me, myself. This me is also an image, which is projecting that image onto the other object. So this image feeds off from that image. And that is how this ego, me, tries to propagate itself. True love cannot be acquired because true love is what you are. True love is a dimension that is beyond all dimensions. It is the pure silence. It is the pure consciousness. In true love, there can be no separation. Only when one believes oneself to be limited, the fear and the desires arise. And those desires lead to chase and craving. And the nature of the mind is to divide, continuously divide and chase. So we run after things, possession, material, knowledge, all those things to become better than what we are. So it is all about, this chase is all about becoming better, becoming whole. But you see, the very act of becoming prevents us from seeing our true nature, which is wholeness, which is love. The feelings in a romantic love is so strong that it becomes very difficult for the mind to be in one particular state. In fact, the very act of perception of the mind undergoes a lot of distortion in that state of limerence, or where you have fascination with another person. And this is not just true in romantic relationships, it can happen even in a guru and disciple relationship. Of course, the underlying sensation may be a bit different, but this can happen with a guru disciple relationship, where the disciple sees an image of guru, which is the disciple's own creation, while the guru may be pointing them to the wholeness, which is their inherent nature, which is what they are. But the disciple is unable to access that dimension simply because he or she is stuck with an image of guru. Could be a childhood abandonment trauma where the disciple sees the guru as this perfect image. The disciple could be in some sort of state of a infantile narcissism, where they just want to act recklessly and leave the mess for the guru, or be with the belief that the guru will take care even if they mess up, so they don't want to take responsibility. It can also happen in friendship. In friendship, where one person idolizes the other person and is in some sort of fascination that if I associate with this person, maybe I will become like them, maybe I will become better. That is why we have affinity towards certain people and we are constantly chasing them, we are anxiously chasing them. And unfortunately, that is why they move away from us, because they sense the anxiousness. In love, there cannot be separation. In love, there cannot be anxiousness. In love, you set them free. In love, you allow them to be the way they want to be. If they want connection, you give them your total presence, your total attention. But if they do not want your presence, you let them be. Your peace is in their freedom. Your peace is never in chasing them. Your peace will never be there if you just obsessively be after them to be in your life. You see, this me is all about bringing attention to itself. So even when I'm saying that I want the other, it is that want, that need, that craving is for me only. I'm not able to see this, that it is my own projection, that this anxiousness is my own creation. Whereas the truth is that if I love you, I want absolutely nothing from you. No expectation. Absolutely nothing. So I set you free, I set myself free. That is love. But we demand. Sometimes we make people's life hell, and also ours. Because we are not able to see the totality of love, the wholeness of love which we are. We think that it is an object to be acquired, that once I have this, once my life is set, once I am financially sound, once I have the best woman or man in my life, once I have the money, the freedom to explore the world, I will be happy. That is the misconception. That is all the movement of the mind, which is fantasy, which is going to create anxiousness, which is going to create restlessness and keep the mind in that continuous state of chasing more and more and more and more and more. It never ends. We have seen crimes of passion, we have seen wars. When the true love within oneself is not recognized, then there is a distance, then there is a separation between me and the other, which manifests as all of this maladaptive behavior and all these problems of the world. Humanly love has its value, it has its place. But you see, the humanly love is never enough because it is limited. It is limited to a feeling, it is based on appearance. Even when you say, I love my child, you love your child because your child's appearance is familiar to you. You won't love another child, someone else's child, as same as your own child. There is a concept there that this is my creation. This child has come out of me. He or she, the child, looks like this acts like this, says these things. All that conditioning is there which creates this love. And they say that love between the mother and the child is the purest human love. But even that love comes to an end in deep sleep. Because in deep sleep, you are neither the mother, nor you have any children, nor you have any family, nor you have any existence as a separate entity. In deep sleep, you are whole, you are complete, you are love. And that experience you get every single day. You experience, there is an experience of that love. In fact, the very notion of you arises from love. So it's very difficult for you to objectively know that love. You can only reduce something which is limited. Love is unlimited, so it cannot be reduced. But still, I say that relationship with a child is still a lot more unconditional as compared to as compared to other relationship, because your expectation with a child is very different than your expectation with your spouse or your parents or your friends and so on. But even that love is not complete, is not wholeness. It is based on conditions. Because let's say if you lose your memory, completely wiped out, you wouldn't recognize your child, you wouldn't recognize your partner, your spouse, your parents, nobody you wouldn't recognize. So all that love will come to an end. But your being, which is the ground of love, which is the whole, which is complete love, never goes away. It is always there. Or let's say it is always here. It is now. It is this. It is so readily accessible right now at this point. Just be with yourself and you'll see it. When that love is recognized, the nature of our relationship with the other also changes, because it is recognized that the being that powers me is the same being that powers others. So one does not get caught up in the appearances. One recognizes that they are made up of the same substance that I am made up of, which is consciousness, which is love. Yes, we may have our disagreements. Every relationship has disagreements, and we may like some people, we may dislike some people. That is all fine. But it is all emanating from that love. That love is making all of this experience possible. Without that love, nothing, no perception, no play of life will be possible. So I will conclude by reading a quote from Jiddu Krishnamurti. He says, "Love comes into being when the mind is naturally quiet, not made quiet. When it sees the false as false and the true as true. When the mind is quiet, then whatever happens is the action of love. It is not the action of knowledge. Knowledge is mere experience, and experience is not love. Experience cannot know love." And he says that because experience is still a separation between the observer and the observed. But the very substratum of that experience is love. And that can only be known in silence, in true silence. Not in the mind trying to silence itself to attain love. That would again be an objectification of the infinite love or impersonal love into personal love. Then there will be expectations that love should do this to me. I should be a good person. I should have conflict-free relationships, harmonious relationships. My life should be perfect. That is again a mistake. In true love, the disharmony within relationships is also a part of their harmony. The restlessness, the anxiousness, all of it is arising from this love. This love is total, it is complete. That's why Ramana Maharishi said that just be. Don't try to be this or that. Don't try to attain love. Because if you try to attain, you retain the subject. You retain the me that wants love. Now, it is not to say that you have to kill your desires. It is not to say that you have to suppress your emotions. In fact, on the contrary, these masters have always said that experience everything totally because they are all part of the love. Let them arise. Let them express themselves to the maximum intensity they want to. So feel everything. Allow all those feelings to emerge. Whatever desires, whatever urges, cravings to get another person, wanting them to be in my life, wanting them to fill my life with love. All those sensations, see those sensations. And the more you see them, what you will notice is that they're not as solid. These are just sensations which are arising in consciousness and they disappear back in that consciousness or love. But the ability to experience all of this comes from this love. That is what it is.